Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
And this week, you may have noticed, we have a new theme song.
I have to give you some serious props for the new theme song.
Yes, I have improved upon
Big time.
what was just once a guitar riff, filling in a space for a theme song. And this is the new and improved version. And we may change it somewhere down the line. I don't know.
You know, beginning stages and all.
Yeah, so that's our new theme song.
I like it.
I hope everybody was rocking
It's a It's a big improvement.
Yeah.
So props to you.
Props to me. Yay.
Yay. Indeed.
Yeah. So
thank you for
episode
that.
28. We'll just jump right into it. We are now on, I think, our either 7th or 9th
7th or 9th?
cookbook challenge.
Why is it 7 or 9? Where'd 8
Because
go?
I know it's not like the 28th. I know it's not the 8th cookbook challenge. It's either the 9th cookbook challenge or the 7th cookbook challenge.
I'm pretty sure it's 9th.
We're on our 9th cookbook challenge. We're just gonna
take my word for it.
And this week we did a really cool recipe from a book called The Epic Vegan by Dustin Harder.
Yes.
Harder, yes. And this is a kind of recipe where you want to spend the day in the kitchen. This is a Saturday afternoon. Spend the day in the kitchen cooking, maybe with a glass of wine or a beer and some friends or some music or something, because there are multitudinous components to this recipe where you're making sauces and vegan ricotta. And this recipe is called the almost famous buffalo chicken lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now talk about things that I would not necessarily put together.
Right.
Me personally. I would not think to make a lasagna out of buffalo chicken.
No, me neither.
Just wouldn't cross my mind.
Me neither.
No. But I have to say, this was pretty fantastic. The flavor profile was really amazing. I loved the textures of it. The buffalo sauce was spicy and the tofu was kind of creamy and it had a lovely blue cheese flavor to it, thanks to the blue cheese dressing that was added to the tofu for the ricotta. Just texturally, it was wonderful. I would definitely eat this again. That's for sure.
I would make this again. It was a fun recipe. I got to use, I've been blessed. If you've listened to our previous episodes, you would know that I was blessed with a Vitamix that my in-laws got me for Christmas a few years ago. And then I added onto my wish list the Vitamix attachments for the Vitamix for food processor, which Sam got me.
I did.
Yep. And the smaller kind of smoothie attachment, where you can make smaller amounts, which are great for dressings and stuff. And this one
dressings and sauces.
Yeah, it totally came in handy for this recipe because you have to make his blue cheese dressing to add to tofu to make the blue cheese ricotta. And I just loved being able to use one appliance and then every attachment that went to my Vitamix.
So you got to run the full gamut of the Vitamix today.
It was just Vitamix glory in the kitchen today.
That's pretty cool. I wish I could have witnessed that.
It was pretty exciting.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So what I really enjoyed about this recipe was that there's so many different components. So like the recipe, he says, to make the blue cheese. Go to page 42 for the recipe for my blue cheese dressing. Then you make the blue cheese dressing, and then in the recipe it says that, make the blue cheese ricotta, and he gives you the recipe for that.
Right.
And then for the buffalo sauce, go to page whatever to make the buffalo sauce, and then make a cashew cream and add his buffalo sauce into the cashew cream to make this buffalo sauce cashew cream sauce for the lasagna.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciated about this recipe, was that it was kind of like this joyride of different recipes.
Yeah.
So it's like one recipe, but you're really making 3 or 4 recipes.
Right.
to make it all come together.
And the cool thing about that also is that you're learning those different components that you can then use in different contexts.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like you said, I would totally make that blue cheese dressing just as blue cheese dressing.
Yeah, just as a dressing for a salad.
Yeah.
It was, I'm not a fan of dairy blue cheese dressing.
I know this.
I've never been a huge fan of it. And I will eat just about everything, but I've never been a huge fan. But when I made this dressing and ate, I'm like, yeah, that's the flavor of the blue cheese that I like, without kind of the extra funkiness of dairy blue cheese.
Right.
So I think like anybody would like that dressing.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do like blue cheese for starters.
Yeah.
But I think I liked this actually a little better than a traditional blue cheese. So yeah, I'm also a fan. And the buffalo sauce also, the buffalo cashew cream was phenomenal.
Yeah. So let me tell you, let's talk a little bit about Dustin Harder.
Yeah.
He has a blog and a YouTube channel called the
Vegan Roadie.
Vegan Roadie. On his YouTube channel, he has, it's like a vegan travel. He likens it to the vegan version of diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Nice.
Where he travels around. The first 2 seasons, I think, are in the U.S., and then the third season, which we watched over the weekend,
Italy.
took place in Italy. And it's a really fun travel show, and he goes around and he finds all the vegan restaurants and vegan-friendly restaurants in the areas where he's traveling. I highly recommend checking out his YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he also has a podcast, and his podcast is called, let me check my notes, I'm so sorry. The podcast is called Keep On Cooking.
Keep on
Yeah,
cooking.
Keep On Cooking with Dustin Harder. And I've caught a couple episodes of the podcast. It's fun. He's very exuberant. He has a specific kind of personality that's like, he's overly excited about everything that he does.
Yes. And we definitely noticed this in the Vegan Roadie as well.
We chuckled numerous times while watching his YouTube shows.
Yes, because of the deep and sometimes it seems like it's almost overdone enthusiasm.
His over-the-top enthusiasm. Sam laughed hysterically when he was
in a gelato shop.
Yes.
In a gelato shop.
Yes.
And of course, I mean, I'd be the first person to get excited about vegan gelato. I really would, because
he did like a gelato
a gelato
crawl.
Tour.
He did a gelato crawl.
Yes, which is awesome. And so, you know, at one place he had the lemon, and another place he had the mango, and another place he had the strawberry, and another place he had the chocolate, and and all of this, which is really really wonderful. But at this one particular stop, I wish I could remember what the name of the gelateria was, but he said, with a vegan cone.
A vegan cone.
And I just could not stop laughing, because just the way he said it was so
over the top.
And like, I didn't know if it was intentional or not, but what I have to say is that I will forever remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's probably going to become a thing that when we get ice cream from now on, if we're out someplace getting a really nice ice cream, we'll be like, and a vegan cone. Yeah.
Yeah. So highly recommend you check out his YouTube channel. That's the Vegan Roadie. And he also has authored 3 cookbooks. The one that we used this week, Epic Vegan, wild and over-the-top plant-based recipes. He has 2 other cookbooks. He has the another one called the Epic Vegan, but it's Epic Vegan, Quick and Easy. Then he has a 3rd cookbook called the Simply Vegan Cookbook. So check out his stuff. It's his recipes actually kind of, you can see his personality in his recipes. Mm-hmm. He's excited about them. This recipe, the lasagna, actually started with a thing that he does on his YouTube show, where after he goes through all these restaurants, he does like a 5-ingredient challenge.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, to try and recreate recreate one of the dishes that he had in one of the restaurants using only 5 ingredients. And this recipe was inspired by one of his 5-ingredient challenges, where he made a vegan buffalo chicken dip. Mm-hmm. And that's what started the ball
what
rolling.
started the
He's like, he
lasagna.
made that dip, and he's like, oh, what else can I use this dip for?
Well, yeah, because it tastes awesome.
Yeah. So in this recipe, it calls for, you can actually, there's another component of this recipe where he makes his own seitan. See page such and such to make your own seitan. I chose not to make my own seitan. I would have been in the kitchen multiple more hours than I was in the kitchen today. I was in the kitchen all day, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make this recipe a lot quicker, but I kind of like spread it out throughout the day. I'm like, I can make this ahead. I can make this ahead. And, you know, enjoy my time in the kitchen.
I think that's great. I love doing things that way. I know when I'm baking, I love it when there's an element I can do early on.
Right.
While I'm waiting for something to prove or, you know, something like that. I think that's great.
Yeah. So he says in the recipe, you can either use his seitan recipe, you can buy a seitan, or use any vegan chicken. So I got the Wegmans Don't Be a Chicken fillets. They make like a fillet, and they're not flavored or anything. So they will impart any flavor that you cook them with. And I used that, and they worked. They turned out really well. It's the first time I've used them in that way. So
yeah, we've gotten the nuggets before, but never the fillets.
Yeah. So I would recommend that in the future. If you
I
have
would too.
A recipe that calls for, if you're trying to veganize a chicken recipe, I would totally recommend that you use those to veganize any chicken recipe.
Yeah, I would too. They were very nice.
Yeah.
The one thing about this recipe, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, Christine thought there was a little too much sauce, and I thought that was unusual because I'm usually the one who does not want tons of sauce, and Christine does want tons of sauce.
Yeah, I thought it was a little too on the saucy side.
Yeah, I didn't find that, but, you know, maybe the piece I got just had less sauce. I have no idea.
I think my problem was that the cashew cream buffalo sauce kind of overtook the
blue cheese
ricotta. And I think that should have like shown a little bit more in the recipe because it's a really great flavor.
Oh, it is.
So I would maybe pull back a little bit on the buffalo sauce. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also we agreed 100% that the one thing this recipe needs is more veg.
More veg. It does call for shredded carrots, celery, and onion, but really that's the only veg in it.
Right.
I mean, no, granted, everything in it is technically plant-based.
Is plant-based.
Yeah.
It's not technically plant-based.
Yeah.
Plant-based it is. But at the same time, we are, you know, big fans of veg-heavy meals.
If I made this again, I think it could do with a little more texture. I would do probably a cauliflower. I would probably like roast some cauliflower steaks and slip them in there.
That sounds fantastic.
Just for a little more textural, impact.
It makes me want to ask you to just make it again right away. Like, do we have a head of cauliflower in the fridge? Because that sounds amazing. And who doesn't like buffalo cauliflower?
If I make it again, I'm definitely including cauliflower in the recipe.
Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful experiment. I think you should make that and report back.
We will.
All right.
We will.
Cool.
All right. Anything else you need to say about this fantastic recipe that we made?
No, it was wonderful. And I have to say, I really, really, really enjoy Cookbook Recipe Night.
Well, I'm glad you do.
I do.
Enjoy Cookbook Recipe Day.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it during the day. I spend the day listening to music, spending the time in the kitchen, dancing around like an idiot, whatever.
Nice.
And then Sam comes home and I get to have her taste it. And 9 times out of 10, she's like, "This is fantastic."
I'd go with like 9.5 times out of 10. Actually, I'm an easy.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any
customer.
fails so far.
No, I don't think we've had any fails.
We've had things that I've wanted to improve on or whatever, but that's just me. So
yes, because you're terribly critical of your own food.
Well, I don't even consider this my own food. When I cook out of a cookbook, it's not my food. It's somebody else's. I try to stick super, adhere to the recipe so that what we're tasting is what they intended.
Yeah.
And then
I gotcha.
I'll make it again and riff on it. Like,
well, right. I'm
with
just
the
saying,
cauliflower thing.
But when you riff, when you're riffing or when you're just going off the top of your head or you're just doing tried and true recipes that you've done forever, you tend to be quite critical of your own cooking.
I can be critical, but that's just because I want to improve on it.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a really good cook, by the way.
Thanks.
Can I put that out there?
Well,
She's
thanks.
just a really good cook, and I really love it.
I was taught by the best. My mother was a great cook. Her mother was a great cook. My sister's a great cook. It's a handed down family tradition.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got that gene.
Me too.
I'm glad I enjoy it. I really do enjoy cooking. Some people don't enjoy cooking. I love to cook. I love being in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's creative. It's a good creative outlet for me. So
yep, I completely agree.
I really enjoy it.
Yep.
Okay.
But then baking frustrates the heck out of you.
I'm not a good baker. I mean, I can make a loaf of bread, but it never turns out as well as I want it. And
that's why you have me.
Yeah. I'm lucky that Sam is the baker in the family. My mother was a wonderful baker. She used to make challah like every other week.
Oh, challah.
And
challah.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, everybody challah for challah. She was always making bread, and it always turned out fantastic. But I don't have the touch. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it's patience.
Yes.
Needing patience.
Yes.
That I don't have.
Yes.
And maybe I could take more advantage of the mixer and just let the mixer do more of the work.
Well, to a certain degree. I mean, you don't want to let the mixer do all of the work, but you do need to be patient.
Yeah.
With baking. I mean, not so much with something like a cookie, but with anything else.
Breads and stuff.
With breads, with pastries, with cakes, you need to be patient.
Yeah.
You need to actually take the time to do. They can't be rushed.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem for me.
Yes, I completely agree.
I'm not always the most patient person in the world, so
really,
yeah, I know. News alert, news flash.
Oh my gosh, I'm
news
shocked.
Flash.
I'm shocked.
All right, well, let's change gears a little bit.
Yeah.
So we watched Bad Vegan. Have you watched Bad Vegan out there?
So for any of you who have not watched Bad Vegan, okay, this is a Netflix original miniseries. It's 4 episodes that essentially delves into the trials and tribulations of a vegan restaurateur who essentially embezzled a whole lot of money from her own business at the behest of her husband, boyfriend, husband.
Yeah.
And outside of the fact that her restaurant happened to be vegan and she herself is vegan.
Yeah.
I can discern absolutely no relationship between those actions, meaning the embezzlement of funds from her restaurant,
right,
and the craziness that ensued with the fact that she's vegan. So the title,
it's clickbait.
Bad Vegan, is pure clickbait.
It's I think they managed to sell this docuseries. I mean, they could have sold this docuseries without any of the vegan stuff. They really, it's true crime. People love true crime.
Yes.
People love to read about people whose lives have gone from what looks to be they're at the top of the charts to a plummeting downfall. For some reason, it seems like people in general, not everyone, of course, take a little bit of entertainment in watching that happen.
I don't understand that.
I mean, just like
I know what
true
you mean.
crime and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It sells, right? They didn't need to. They didn't need to focus on the fact that her restaurant was vegan. Her restaurant, Pure Food and Wine, was a very popular restaurant in Manhattan. It was a veritable
celebrity hotspot, upscale vegan cuisine.
Who's of celebrities were supporting her restaurant. And she happened to just get in a relationship with the wrong guy. Yeah. This guy was, and has been proven that he was a gambling addict.
Yes.
Had duped women in the past. He has an ex-wife that he did pretty much textbook the same exact thing to.
Yeah, pretty close.
And she got sucked in because she was in debt. Even though she had a thriving and what appeared to be successful business, she had $2 million in debt.
Yes, she was indebted to her investors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was kind of crushed under the worry of that debt, which I think
Who wouldn't be?
we can all relate to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine having, like, I can't come close to imagining $2 million
Yeah.
in debt.
Yeah, it's insane.
I've had far less debt that has felt crushing.
Yeah. I mean, it's all relative.
It's completely relative. So, you know, being in debt by $2 million to your investors, absolutely, that would be something that would weigh just so heavily on anyone, I'm sure. And so this guy comes along, Anthony Strangus.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony Strangus. And he says, well, oh, you know, that $2 million debt, that's nothing. That'll just be wiped away. Not even an issue. And so, you know, she kind of went, hey, this is my ticket out of this debt.
Yep.
But the thing is, what then happened is he was continually asking her for money to support his gambling habit.
Yeah.
She wasn't aware, in the beginning at least,
Yeah.
that she was supporting a gambling habit, but that's exactly what she was doing.
No idea. And spoilers, if you haven't seen the show yet, the series, and you want to see it and don't want to be spoiled, we're going to be talking about everything that happens on it.
Yeah.
So you might want to pause here, watch all 4 episodes, binge it,
and then come back.
and then come back.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ruin anything for anybody that's gung ho to watch this.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, Sarma Mengeles.
Sarma Melangalis.
Yeah, Melangalis. Thank
There
you. Yeah, she just happened to hook up with this guy. Believe it or not, met him on Words with Friends. They had like a back and forth in the chat thing on Words with Friends. Mm-hmm. She discovered that he had some connection to Alec Baldwin, but it was really just a Twitter connection where they were bantering back and forth on Twitter. He doesn't really know Alec Baldwin. Mm-hmm. And so she thought, oh, well, he's in with, some people I know, and agreed to meet the guy in person. And he kind of, like Sam said, swept her off her feet, convinced her that he would take care of all of her problems and all of her debt. And she decided to marry him. In the show, they kind of make it sound like she married him purely for the money.
Yeah, I really did get that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of her employees, her coworkers who were speaking during the documentary, they didn't seem to be convinced that there was a kind of tremendous love going on there.
Yeah.
That, this was a be all end all love of your life kind of thing. They didn't get that feeling.
Well, it seemed like in the show, at least, they portrayed it like she kept their relationship kind of secretive. Mm. And like, if you really cared for somebody, why wouldn't you just want to share that person with the people that were important in your life, So she kind of lied a couple of times about who he was.
Right.
Told some people that
he was a cousin.
That he was a cousin. So her motives are suspect.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, of course, I found this a difficult series to watch, actually. Just because I wanted to sympathize or empathize with Sarma. I really did. Because, I mean, we all know that love can make us do crazy things and stupid things and all of that. Right. So I like to think that she was like, kind of genuinely taken by this guy and really thought that she was doing good by embezzling money from her business and giving it over to her husband for whatever reason. Yeah. And there was also kind of an esoteric, new agey kind of pseudo-religious spin on this as well.
Well, he was using what I think people who know or have any experience, he was using textbook mind control.
Mind control.
Yeah, Textbook
Yeah.
mind control. I mean, we're talking kind of like helter-skelter stuff,
Yeah.
right? Where he was convincing her that money was no object, that all of her money problems would go away, that he had this in with what he called the family, quote unquote, the family, which was this organization of, supposedly, he was telling her, this organization of people that would make sure everything was taken care of in her life, but she had to pass these moral and ethical tests that
Right.
he would that they would live forever, that her dog would live forever.
Right.
And this went this is like over the course of 4 years.
Yeah.
This guy was mind controlling her. He was manipulating her. And the right person, I mean, in the right circumstances in their life, who totally needs somebody to take care of things that are going wrong in their life,
Yeah.
can totally be taken over by that. You know,
Right.
I mean, Charles Manson convinced people to kill people
It's a fair point.
using that same kind of mind control.
Absolutely. But I think that's where some of the disconnect for me was that, you know, at the beginning,
Yeah.
I could understand, but there seemed to be a number of different points in the story where she was kind of getting wise to what was going on.
Right.
And she almost
And yet-
realized that she was being manipulated, and
Yeah.
she still went along with it.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to go, really?
Yeah. Well, that's when you start to go, how? How is somebody that taken in by someone?
Right.
Why doesn't she just go, stop? I mean,
Right.
she had been wiring this guy, I mean, multiple times, wired him tens of thousands of dollars
At a time. Yeah.
at a time, with the promise that she would get the money back tenfold.
Right.
But over and over and over, and they had the evidence of her wiring him all this money. It's like, at what point do you just not go, no, I'm not going to send
Yeah.
you any more money. Why are you asking me for more money? You know?
Well, I mean, and she did ask
Yeah.
the why.
But she kept doing it.
But she kept doing it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, her husband's answer to the why was, you know, don't you trust me? Don't you believe in what I'm telling you? Don't you want the happily ever after?
Yeah.
You know, all of these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, come on. Where's the proof of that?
Yeah.
How do I know I'm ever, you know, how would she know she's any further along the line,
Yeah.
you know, further into the process of attaining
Right.
what this guy is obviously promising?
Right.
Yeah, it just bugged me because it was hard for me to believe that Sarma, who came across as a quite intelligent, quite capable businesswoman,
Right.
you know, who had kind of forged her own path, that she would be that gullible and that susceptible.
Yeah, it is kind of unbelievable that somebody could be taken in like that. But to get back to the fact that they called this bad vegan,
It's just, this has absolutely nothing to do with veganism. So
Nothing.
for those of you vegans out there who, like us, tend to watch every vegan documentary you can get your hands on,
yeah.
you can skip this one right by.
Yeah,
If-
you can. I mean, if you want to watch a true crime docuseries about a woman who was kind of taken in by kind of ne'er-do-well gambling addict who took her for all she was worth
Yep.
and spit her out on the other side, then
Yep.
fine, watch it. But it has absolutely nothing to do with her veganism. And I want to allude to a couple of quotes
Yeah.
made by Vanity Fair, a reporter who played a big part in this. His name is Alan Sulkin.
There we go.
He works for Vanity Fair. And they did multiple shots where they cut back to him in kind of a talking head kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a couple of quotes about vegans. And I almost started to feel like he was making these quotes just to piss vegans off. That I really honestly felt like, okay, vegans are going to be watching this. Let's say a couple of things that piss vegans off.
Right.
And here's vegan quote number 1 that's going to piss vegans off.
Right.
And here's vegan quote number 2 that's going to piss vegans off.
Are we thinking of the same two?
Yeah. So I'm going to
Okay.
play for you guys these 2 quotes. I'm going to call these 2 quotes up. And you can make your own assessments. I'm
Well,
sure.
let's do them one at a time.
Yeah.
Not both of them back to back, so we can rip one
Right.
apart and then the other. 'Cause
Okay.
that's fun.
All right. So I'm going to find this first one.
Okay.
world that she's in of vegans is also a world full of people who believe in New Age mysticism, palm reading, crystals. She's sort of coming out of this ferment of things that are ethereal and don't obey the normal rules of life.
I tend to be open-minded about all of that, so I don't dismiss it as...
Okay, so that's the first quote, where apparently all of us vegans are into
New Age mysticism.
New Age mysticism. Nothing against New Age mysticism.
None at all.
I actually love New Age mysticism. Maybe I'm one of those vegans. You know, I'm charging my crystals and all that jazz. I'm not one of those vegans, mind you. But I have nothing against people that are into New Ageism. But to say that vegans, that she was living in this world of vegans who are all into this New Age mysticism, which makes her more susceptible to somebody, you know,
who's out to manipulate her. Right.
That's just bunk.
No, yeah, I was kind of offended by this too. I mean, anyone who has a vision of spirituality outside of organized religion could be included in this grouping. And the thing is, it may be true. Maybe there are more people in the vegan community who are minded towards New Age mysticism or Eastern philosophy or anything else. But to make it sound like it's a derogatory thing, and to make it sound like that take on spirituality, which is clearly either non-Western or non-traditional or both, is the problem.
Right.
I did take offense at that.
I just get this feeling from this guy that he's just trying to tick people off.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and maybe he is. You know, he is a journalist, and that's part of what journalists do.
For Vanity Fair, so they know how to. Okay, so here's the next quote.
There is this sense of hypocrisy that really, in so many ways, you know, adds to the story. It's sort of a piece with Domino's Pizza. She's somehow vegans present themselves to us as being better than the rest of us. They don't eat meat. They don't kill animals. They don't hurt the environment as much as the rest of us. So the fact that she would become involved in a criminal scheme like this sort of belies who she's presenting to the world.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
So there are a couple things in here. I mean, obviously, so I sometimes wonder if the title Bad Vegan came from the idea that she ordered a pizza. Which I think is hysterical because it wasn't her pizza. It was her husband's pizza.
Yeah,
and
the husband, who was not a vegan, ordered Domino's Pizza and chicken wings, mind you.
Yes.
From a Domino's Pizza near the hotel where they were staying.
Yes.
Where they had two separate rooms, mind you. And he used his real name.
Yes.
And so that's how they found them, because at that point they were on the wanted list.
Yes.
And someone in New York City, probably his Russian assistant, Nazim, tipped them off where he was. And that's how they put two and two together. She didn't order the pizza.
No. And I completely
and frankly,
agree.
Who cares?
Who cares
at this point?
Like, seriously. Yeah, who cares about the pizza? The pizza is not the important thing here, yet it does seem like a lot of people are harping on it. Like, oh my God, she ate cheese.
What?
Like,
a vegan ordered a Domino's Pizza and chicken wings?
Yeah. Oh, the horror.
When they're all portraying themselves as better than everyone else?
That's where we get down to it. Yes, absolutely. That all of us vegans walk around portraying ourselves as better than anybody else. We're no
I know
better
I
than
do.
Do you really?
I'm kidding.
I've yet to see that.
If I am, it's not working.
Yeah, no. this is, I think, the second documentary we've watched that has inferred that vegans consider themselves to be morally superior to other mere mortals.
No, I think that's fake news.
I think that is fake news.
I think it's totally something the media likes to glom onto just to create buzz.
That's right. It's what people want people to think.
Right. It's not actually what people think. It's what the media wants people to think people think.
That's right. And so, a true vegan, at the heart of a true vegan is compassion and the knowledge that choices that we make for ourselves are not necessarily the choices that others are going to make. And we don't have the right to judge those choices. It's not about us. Our choices are ours. Everybody else's choices are theirs. And we don't get to own them in any way, shape, or form, or judge them in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
So I would say to anybody out there who thinks vegans are morally superior, no, actually, we're not. In fact, we're far less judgmental than many.
I think as a whole, I think vegans are very not judgmental people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to argue that fact because like we said before, I really think that this is something that the media likes to portray just to get people
riled up,
arguing with each other,
Yeah. And that's fine.
I've never met a non-vegan person who I've told I was vegan who said or acted like I was morally superior to them. Not once.
Me either.
Sure, I've gotten from friends and stuff that aren't vegan. They give you the ribbing, So is this vegan? Is that vegan? Can you eat this? Can you eat that? But that's just people trying to justify in their brains, what you're doing, how you live your life.
Right.
It's not once has anybody ever really acted like I was morally superior to them.
Right. Right.
When I told them I was vegan.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of quotes in there that we found really offensive. And I think that they're in there solely for us to be talking about it right now.
Well, then mission accomplished. I mean, seriously, if that was the point, hey,
I totally
good job.
I totally think that was the point of both of those quotes.
Well, then, you know what? We fell right into it.
Yeah, we did. Hey, kudos. Kudos to them. So there's that. It does turn out that Sarma was paid by Netflix for her involvement in this series. She used the money to pay back her employees that she bilked more than $40,000 from.
As well she should.
And also paid some of her legal fees.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So good for her.
Yeah.
Whatever. She got, 4 months and in prison at Rikers.
And a year's probation,
And 5 years probation.
Oh, was it 5 years
I think it was 5 years probation.
Okay.
Her husband, Anthony, got a year in Rikers because nobody would bail him out. She got bailed out. Year in Rikers. I don't know how she got anybody to give her more money, but somebody bailed her out.
He got her family, actually.
Yeah. He got a year in Rikers, 5 years probation, and had to pay and probably still paying $840,000 in restitution.
Yeah.
So the courts have obviously decided that he was the mastermind behind all this.
Yes, that he was more responsible
Yeah.
than was Sarma. But at the same time, that $840,000 is nowhere near what she actually gave him.
$6 million.
That's insane.
$6 million between what she soaked out of her restaurant, out of investors, and her mother gave him $400,000, more than $400,000 over the course of the 4 years, mainly because she was worried about her daughter.
Of course.
And he had overtaken all of her communications. He had
email,
access
media,
to her
phone,
emails, all of her social media, all of her, her phone. She found out that he had been reading her email. Like she thought there was like these crazy coincidences that he knew where she was and who she was talking to. Well, it turned out he
was
just
reading
had,
her email.
He had all of her passwords and stuff. It wasn't, it was no huge mystery. He managed to log into every email or account that she had, bank accounts and everything.
Yeah.
And it was monitoring her every move, like somebody would if they were a psycho stalker, person who was going to bilk you out of every dollar you had, which is what he did.
Yes.
And he did this to his first wife, who makes an appearance on the show.
Yeah.
He did basically the same thing to her. She wised up a lot.
I was going to say not to so great a degree.
Yeah. She wised up a lot sooner. And they actually were married and had a child together.
Yeah.
And he did the same exact thing to her. And she kicked him to the curb far sooner than Sarma ever did. So she came forward and testified
on Sarma's behalf.
Yeah. To tell the courts that, this guy is a problem and this is what he does. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's hard to believe that people can fall victim like that over that long of a period of time and that much money. But, it happens. It obviously happens. So,
yes, obviously.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in conclusion, I would say the fact that this woman was vegan, the fact that she had a very successful vegan restaurant has absolutely 100% nothing to do with what happened to her.
Nope.
I feel bad for her employees.
Absolutely.
Who were obviously very loyal. I mean, they stuck through not getting paid for months on end and everything. They wanted to make it work. She reopened the restaurant. People were still giving her money. She had investors to reopen the restaurant after it closed one time. So people obviously were very loyal to her.
And believed in what she was doing.
Yeah. So she, that kind of tells me she must have been a decent person at some point in order to have that many people loyal to you.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't be a bad person.
No, I don't think you can fake that.
Yeah. So, I think she was just really taken in by this guy and way in over her head and just couldn't find her way out of it.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she's vegan.
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
So, they shouldn't have called this bad vegan. They should have called this
bad husband.
Bad husband. Bad decisions.
Definitely bad husband. Bad choices. Bad decision. Yeah. Anything along those lines, bad scene, just bad scene. Whatever you like. But it really has nothing to do with anybody's veganism.
No. No. And the fact that they tried to include her veganism into the storyline, you can tell it's obviously some sort of, I don't know. It came off as really smarmy to me.
Cool. We get to make a vegan look bad.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It came off to me as really smarmy and just like a clickbaity kind of thing. So
I agree.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's our review of Bad Vegan.
Yeah, so we would definitely not put it on our recommended list for vegan documentaries.
No, it's not a vegan documentary at all.
If you're in it for the true crime, then, it's
mildly entertaining.
Mildly interesting.
If you find other people's misfortune entertaining, then,
Right.
It's intriguing.
I think that's a better word, actually, because I don't think I actually found it entertaining.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like a car accident in a way.
Yeah, like you couldn't look away.
You couldn't look away.
You wanted to know what happened?
Right. I wanted to know what happened, but I really didn't at the same time.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah. We are looking forward to watching the New Zealand documentary Milked.
Yes.
Which is about the New Zealand dairy industry. We're going to watch that and possibly have a review of that either next week or the week following.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it'll be next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look for that. I guess we'll just wrap this up, do a little housekeeping. We're already 47 minutes in.
Cool.
So I'll just do a little housekeeping.
keep the house, baby.
All right. Hey, email us any recipes, cookbooks. If you have a cookbook, email me, let me know. Reach out to me. I will buy your cookbook, look at your cookbook, cook from your cookbook, talk about your cookbook. Email me at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com. We're still, of course, holding our fundraiser for Mockingbird Farms Animal Sanctuary. That's at our Buy Me a Coffee. It's buymeacoffee.com/cucumbers. Let's see, we have a $300 goal on that, which we're going to match. We are currently at, I think, 125 on that. So people, come on, let's get there. I want to get to that $300 mark so I can send that check over to Mockingbird Farms. So yeah, donate to that. What else we have? Anything else coming up? Anything big? Any big news?
No, nothing big. Not right now.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just...
Well, I mean, I have some news, but it's news that will be better later on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, leave us hanging.
Yeah, we'll leave you hanging.
So later on, Sam will have some big news.
It's more of a June thing.
Ooh, okay. So come back in June and we'll tell you all about that.
Oh yeah, we have all kinds of things going on in June.
We do. A lot of stuff coming up. We're doing some traveling and whatnot. So we'll have plenty to talk about.
Yep.
In the coming months.
Absolutely.
So I hope you all have a great week. We will see you next Tuesday. And don't forget. I don't know.
Don't forget what?
I don't know.
Really? Oh my God.
I had something, but it left my brain. So, all right. With that, we will see you. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for all your support. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a great week, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye. If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cucumbers and buy us a cup of coffee. Thanks so much for listening and for supporting us in what we're doing. We're really having a good time with it.